Awesome. So Dante, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm excited. The movie's finally coming out. We're in the middle of a tour,
Ooh.
running all through North America here, and we just hit the Pacific Northwest and Vancouver. We're about to hit Southern California, and then hit the East Coast and Hawaii. So maybe hit talks of going to Texas. Talks of going to Texas.
Mm, I know you guys. I think you guys gonna be out there at Richmond. I believe I saw.
Maybe it's possible. It's
So I'm
possible.
like, oh, just go down a little lower to San Antonio. So I have to ask you, what was the inspiration to make the movie with your family, especially with your brothers?
Yeah, I mean, the inspiration was my family. We've all been in the industry for over 35 years. We came to Los Angeles from the Bay Area over 35 years ago. And, you know, it's been a crazy journey and a great journey. And we're all still actors. And they've all had their, you know, just great careers in their own right. Obviously, there's certain characters of mine that became iconic for different generations, and this business has allowed me to do a lot of special things, from being from a break dancer to an actor, from an actor to a poet, from a poet to writing screenplays and theater plays, and then producing those and becoming a producer, and then ultimately now, getting able to direct a film. And when I put this film together, I really took the advice that I give to other young filmmakers: write what you know, write what you know. And I want to tell this personal story and really represent for our community, and really write this love letter to about my community that I grew up in, and also about my family.
Wow, that's really cool, and learning the different hats in there also could have contributed to making the movie easier for you, and especially with family to showcase it.
They're, I mean, like my brothers Derek, Darian, and Denny. So they're amazing, amazing actors, and like I said, they've got to do a lot of great stuff through their career. But like a lot of actors, like most actors that come to Hollywood, um, you know, you get to work and get to do stuff, but Hollywood doesn't always let you get to do what you can actually do.
Mhm.
So in doing this film, putting this film together for my brothers, I really wanted to show everybody and Hollywood, like, this is what these guys can actually do if they're like the leads in their own project. And so they really shine. So I'm really proud of them.
Oh, they did an amazing job. Just watching the screener of it, I was like, wow, it flowed so well, and I enjoyed the story. Like, you were hooked, line and sinker from the beginning.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Uh, it's fun. I mean, I hope you had fun. I hope people dig it. I can't wait for more people to see it. Going on the road and being able to see it with people in audiences in theaters has been a really profound experience to see all that happen.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And with your Filipino heritage, did you want to educate the audiences of your about your culture in the movie?
Yeah, I think I wanted to, represent more than anything. I mean, educate, maybe. This is not some kind of a grand gesture where I'm trying to create. I didn't set out to make the grand gesture of, like, this is the Filipino story for all Filipinos or all Filipino Americans. It is a personal story. Even though this is a fictional story, these are fictional stories. They're all they're all inspired by real stories from our family and our close knit friends. So I could have put before the film inspired by true events, because it all is, but it all comes from all over the place. So it was, in a way, it's a personal story, personal stories about people in my life. Um, it just happens to be, we kind of embellished on things, and pushed things out and had fun with things, or mixed a few stories together. But again, I don't know if I was educating, but I definitely wanted to represent. I mean, it was very important for me to call the film The Fabulous Filipino Brothers, because in this era of, this really pioneering time for Asians in pop culture media, I wanted our stories to be a part of that movement, and for our audience and our community to be a part of that movement, along with, of course, the Chinese, and where the Koreans are killing it, and so many different other of the Asian community are killing it in their stories. And I wanted to add our stories to it, and show everybody, including the Asian community, like the different, the subtle differences of who we are and where we come from, what we do, and give a little bit of, yeah, I guess, education to the people out there. And it's been fascinating. Like, Asian community, of course, the Filipino communities come out, and are really moved, profound by seeing themselves on screen, which is important. Other Asian communities have been coming out and really loving the film and seeing the food and seeing the similarities, and even the Latino culture, because we are Asian, and we talked about in the film like a little bit, like we're colonized by Spain, like all Latino cultures, and we are like the only Asian Latinos. And so I've had Latino people come out in the community watching the film like, yo, that's like us in El Salvador, that's like us in Mexico. I'm like, yeah, dude, like we share a lot of things. And so I think it could be educational in that sense if you don't know Filipinos, to understand like, oh wow, there's correlations and connections of what's going on here.
Oh yeah, and the correlation was perfect, because I'm Latino as well, and I was like, dude, it reminds me of those parties back home.
Yeah.
The food everywhere, everyone going little nuts here and there.
Exactly. We're all connected.
Oh yes, oh yes. And since this is your directorial debut, was it easier to be behind the camera or in front of the camera?
Well, I had a really good time. I've been producing for about almost 10 years now. I think it's my 8th film I produced. And I was really lucky to go on this with a great team, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. My DP, Andrea Walter, I produced her film the year before, Empty by Design. And so she came in to DP for my film. And I really had a great time. As a director, is different storytelling. I mean, of course, I love acting. I love being in front of the camera, and I love telling and being a part of the story in that way. But I really had a good time being behind the camera and kind of like having a little more power than you do as an actor to really help orchestrate everything going on. A lot more stress, a lot more stress. And I'm not gonna lie, it was hard on the days where I had to be in front of the camera and behind the camera. I would think of like, how do these guys do it? Whether it's Eastwood or a bunch of actors who've done it over the years. It's very, because it takes a lot of energy and time and what you want to do and be in the moment as an actor. But as a director, you're overlooking everything. And so it's hard to split your mind up. On those days, I really had my brothers be behind camera to really overlook my performance, to call me out if something seemed false, or, I need to go back, or, that kind of stuff.
Oh yes, and you did really well. Watching the movie, it just flowed so well, and
Thank you.
You wouldn't recognize if it was like a first time director. You like it was like you were just part of the process for many years. It's like just watching a regular movie at the theater.
Awesome, I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know. I think I attribute that to, like, again, having a good team, and I've been around the industry a long time, so you have a lot of help and a lot of friends and a lot of eyeballs to kind of keep us all. It takes a village, and it takes a miracle for any movie to get made. This is not, this is not an exception. It also took that.
Oh yes, and that's really cool, really cool. So what do you want fans to experience when they watch the Fabulous Filipino Brothers?
I want fans to have a good time more than anything. I mean, I'm a storyteller like anybody. I'm a director, but I'm not, I'm an entertainment director. I want people to come into a movie and enjoy and have fun. Maybe through their enjoyment, through their laughing, they get to learn a little something about, about my community and where I'm from, about Filipinos. And then also, some things to think about. There's little things I put in there to think about, and maybe some things to be touched in certain vignettes. With the last vignette with my brother Darian and what's going on there with mental health and with love, of course, I believe, like most artists, that love can conquer all. And I believe in that. And I believe in family is the support system, like many Asian families, like many Latino families, like family is the anchor to all that we do. And I still do believe in that. And that's part of the story. But there's other little things in there, like going back to the Philippines. It was very important to me shooting in the Philippines and having a vignette in the Philippines. And, in spite of all the calamities that go on in that particular vignette, an underground little message that's kind of maybe subliminal is like, we're a nation of immigrants here. Like, go back to where you're from, reconnect where you're from. It's still important. It's so many things. As I started going back to the Philippines as an adult, getting involved in the creative community out there, the film community out there, there were so many experiences and so many things that I didn't even understand how I was seeing myself in a perspective as being a person of color in America. As where you go to where you're from, you're like, okay, there's certain little things that you learn that you could let go of, because things are existing you didn't know exist. People, you could just be who you are, and who you are is enough. It was crazy, like with the Filipino audience watching it, people getting, it's a comedy, but then like a lot of the audience is getting very moved to tears, they're laughing and then they're crying. And one girl was really explained to me to see us up there, to see a bunch of people up there, all different colors and different flavors of us in one film, being people, being good, being bad, being flawed, being not perfect, was emotional. And there's even a scene that I was saying to my brother Dar that we wrote that we didn't even realize we wrote when we wrote it, but he's asking Teresa, like, who are you? And she's like, I'm just me. Like, to just be you is enough. And it's a film like this where a lot of times as Filipino people go, like, we don't feel enough. We have to be the most excellent person here in America for us to be, seen or to be appreciated. Yeah. And yeah, that's the model minority thing. We've all gone through it. We all want to be, to be a star, to be known for, to be proud of, you have to be the most excellent, whatever. But also there's times where you're like, you just got to be you. And you're just you. And that's good too.
Yeah, and it showcases your heritage. So sometimes, like, living here in America, we forget, the things that make our culture unique. And watching it, I was like, I didn't know much about Filipinos. I have a lot of Filipino friends, but I didn't know their culture to that. So when we're watching that, there was so much similarities. That's why it was intoxicating. Like, you were just engulfed in it, because you're like,
right,
oh man, I do that with my family too.
Exactly.
We just did that 2 weeks ago.
We're your cousins overseas, man. I always tell Latinos, like, yo, have you been to Asia? A lot of them are like, no, I've never been to Asia. I'm like, go to the Philippines. Start in the Philippines, because like that's your people. When you get to the Philippines, you'll go, oh my goodness, I didn't know we had people here. Right. and then jump off from there. But it's like, we are your cousins in Asia, period.
Wow. And you brought up a really good point. We're all family. And when you watch the movie, it's a family experience where you're just watching, you're just retelling of not only your childhood, but it's just of things that we don't really appreciate enough. And that's just the family vibes and the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, because my parents play our parents in the movie. Those are my parents. Those are our real parents. Snap. Yeah, that's my dad and that's my mom. And and having them come, we were gonna recast it. We're like, no, like, let them do it, and it was crazy to do these scenes, and very much like the house we grew up in. It was very cathartic and crazy to do this film the way we did it. And then, like, of course, all the pictures that you see of the youth that really kind of anchor the film, and like, oh, this is not just about at this time, this is about a lifetime of these guys. And so I think there's a specialness to the film, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it.
Oh yes. And lastly, Dante, where can our fans find you on social media to keep up on your upcoming projects?
Yeah, you can follow me at Dante Basco on pretty much everything except for TikTok. It's just at Dante. But definitely follow my IG, and then follow the IG of Fabulous Filipino Brothers at Fab Filipino Bros for all the stuff, because we're touring around, and the film drops February 8th, and we're urging everybody to download the film and support the film, and spread the word. Tell your friends.
Oh, we will. We're going to make sure a review comes out, as well as this interview, with all links and information down in the description.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Dante, for taking your time out of the day to talk to me and talk to us, everybody, about your movie, your heritage, and your vision. We appreciate it greatly, as well as learning and appreciate ourselves.
Thank you, Vic.
No problem. All right, guys, this is Vic for Drop Spotlight. We'll see you at the comments.